Muldrotha, the Gravetide, versus Arcades, the Strategist. Oh, we've got a few cards in hand there, a few lands I should say, and we can ramp with Harrow, so yeah, don't see why we wouldn't keep that. Just get down a tap land in Flooded Strand. I think that is going to be, well, any kind of blue source, doesn't really matter. I think we have some cycle lands in the deck that we can get with Flooded Strand, so we'll probably go for one of them. And then how about a Seal of Primordium? Maybe keep our opponent off some mana rocks with that. We can obviously replay this from the graveyard once Muldrotha's in play because it is a permanent. Muldrotha reads, during each of your turns you may play up to one permanent of each permanent type from your graveyard. She is a 6/6 in Sultai for 6 mana. And Arcades, the Strategist, is a 3/5 with Flying and Vigilance in Bant, 4 mana. Whenever a creature with Defender enters the battlefield under your control, you can draw a card, and each creature you control with Defender assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power, and it can attack as though it didn't have Defender. So it's the new Duran or Dosan, I can't remember what that Abzan commander was called. I don't know if our opponent has counter magic in hand. Let's see if they do. Alright, they don't appear to have any counter magic. You would think that they would want Baleful Strix in the graveyard. Let's go for a tapped Overgrown Tomb and we'll throw it back over to our opponent. Yeah, decided to upload this deck finally. When she first came out, I was very excited for Muldrotha. Came out in Dominaria a few months ago and was a little bit disappointed with her. I don't think she was as good as I thought she was going to be. That might just be my deck building abilities, but I don't know. Sometimes we get a really good game with her and sometimes not. We'll just have to see how it pans out. She's certainly not hyper competitive, maybe more suited to multiplayer games. But as of the time of recording, I'm a week away from going on holiday, so I'm just trying to get some recordings well in advance. Let's go for Tainted Wood. And then we can get ourselves a blue source here. We'll sack the Tainted Wood. And we'll get a forest and an island. And we'll go for Search for Azcanta. We'll swing in with Baleful Strix and pass it back over to our opponent. They are on Bant mana now, so looks like we've got a game underway. Might be seeing Arcades hit the field next turn. Yeah, I'm in a place called, when you see this video, I will already be in a place called Ambleside in the Lake District. The Lake District is a national park in the northwest of England. And yeah, beautiful scenery, and we're going there for a week, so I'm having to record videos like 2 weeks in advance, because obviously while I'm on holiday I can't record new videos while I'm there, so I not only need the recordings for while we're on holiday, but I need it for when we come back as well. So it's a little bit frantic and a logistical nightmare with regards to the channel, but yeah, it's good. I figured a treat for me, so a treat for you. A new deck for the channel. See if you all like Muldrotha or not. I've given up trying to predict if people are going to enjoy certain decks or certain commanders. I more than once have assumed that, oh yeah, this is going to be a really good deck. People are going to like it. Yeah, we'll put that into the graveyard. It's a land, so we already have a land drop for the turn. Okay, Azusa might be good. Azusa will be good if we get into Crucible of Worlds or Raminap. I'm going to go for Muldrotha here. I think they've got counter magic held up. And if they do, we can get Muldrotha back with Dance of the Dead. No, they don't. Okay, well, it's always worth playing around things like that. That's good to know. So we'll just go in like that. Yeah, I've given up trying to guess if people are actually going to like decks or not. Like Merin and SRAM I thought were going to be popular, and they weren't, and that's fine, it's no problem, but it's just in my mind, I think they're going to be popular, and then they're not, and it's always surprising to me. But then I dip my toe in the water and test out something like Duretti, Scraps of Omp. Never thought people would care about him. He was years old when I released him on the channel, and people just really loved Duretti. Okay, Arcadie's coming down. That means that the caretaker, what is that? Ceruli caretaker can come in, and this is what Arcades does: is throws down very cheap defender creatures just to get the card draw going. Burgeoning, yeah, they might actually make use of burgeoning because we've got Azusa in hand, and if we get, like I say, if we get Crucible of Worlds or something like that into play, then we'll be playing a lot of lands. But I do think this is an artifact, isn't it? So I do think we have to crack Seal of Primordium and kill that thing, because that's going to be 6 damage coming in at us. And we don't want that because we can't block it very well. Well, we could block it with Baleful Strix, I suppose. Let's see what we can throw. No, we definitely don't want to get rid of that. We want to keep hold of our Vampiric Tutor. See if our opponent has a land that they can play with Burgeoning. I'm going to get down the Seal of Primordium again. And why don't we get down Pernicious Deed as well? In fact, yeah, up to 1 permanent card. So Azusa doesn't work with Muldrotha, so why don't we just go for the Pernicious Deed instead? Now we can pretty comfortably blow up our opponent's board if we want to. They'll still have Arcades in play, but they won't have their defenders to swing in with. Wall of Frost coming down. Yeah, we're just going to have to let our opponent do it for now before we wipe the board with Pernicious Deed. Pernicious Deed, by the way, is... I'll have to move these windows out of the way. X and sacrifice it. Destroys each artifact, creature, and enchantment with CMC X or less. Green Sun Zenith for 3. Down to 1 card in hand, our opponent, but if this... Is this when it enters? Yeah, whenever a creature with Defender enters, it's not when it's cast. So Green Sun Zenith. Yep, can get Wall of Blossoms. That will draw 2 cards, because Wall of Blossoms draws a card when it enters. So up to 3 cards. Yeah, they opt not to swing in. I would have blocked with the Baleful Strix, because I think I'm going to wipe the board next turn anyway. We will kill their Burgeoning with Seal of Primordium, because I think they might have drawn into another land or 2. And then we'll Vampiric Tutor, and I've already got an idea of what I want to grab. I just can't... Intuition, is it called? Kind of use it as an instant speed buried alive. Yeah, Intuition, I think, is the card I'm after. Yes. Let's grab that. I have to be careful not to throw it in the bin with Search for Azcanta. No, we don't want it in the graveyard. Yeah, we'll go for Intuition. And we choose this opponent. And we grab ourselves a Skull Clamp, a little interaction that I always use in my graveyard builds, especially when I've got access to blue. Skull Clamp, Bloodghast. And we'll grab ourselves a Crucible of Worlds as well, because that goes well with Azusa. In fact, on second thoughts, instead of Crucible of Worlds, I'm going to grab Shriekmaw instead. Because even if they decide to give us Shriekmaw, well, it doesn't actually matter. We have Muldrotha in play, so we can cast it for 2 mana either way, and we can get rid of our opponent's commander with that. They can get it out pretty easily, but they're going to have to use a lot of their mana to do that. Now our opponent has to decide which card to give us. It's obviously not as easy a decision as it might be, thanks to Muldrotha. We can cast all these cards from our graveyard. Alright, forcing us to cast the Bloodghast. Yeah, I think we'll just wipe the board at this point. This takes out all my opponent's creatures. And it takes all our permanents apart from Muldrotha as well. And then we need to remember to play a land as well. We'll swing in with Muldrotha. Start getting somewhat of a clock on our opponent. And then we just get into Windswept Heath. And we'll get down our Skull Clamp as well. Playing straight out of the graveyard. And there's nothing else for us to do, so we'll just pass to our opponent. I'll expand the graveyard there so that we can follow a bit more closely what we've got in there. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 mana our opponent has and 4 cards in hand. Their commander's going to cost 6 now. And we do have Shriekmaw in the graveyard, so we can easily deal with Arcades. Even if they have counter magic in hand, as long as they don't get rid of Muldrotha, that would be an issue for us. But even then, we can go for Dance of the Dead onto Shriekmaw, so I think I might actually, if they kill Muldrotha, I might actually let it hit the graveyard. Okay, Tamiyo is... yeah, that's relevant. Okay, tap up to 2 non-land permanents, so that's freezing those, they're not going to untap. Which helps protect Tamiyo. I think just because of that, we might go for a Dance of the Dead on Shriekmaw. Let's get down our Bloodghast. And then we can start making use of Skull Clamp shenanigans. Bloodghast has landfall and it returns to the battlefield and it dies instantly to Skull Clamp thanks to the 1 toughness that Bloodghast has. And then fetch lands make Bloodghast come out twice. So let's refill our hand while we can. Don't know if our opponent is going to kill our Bloodghast at all. And then we'll equip Bloodghast one last time. And we get ourselves a recurring nightmare. I think I'm just going to go for Dance of the Dead onto Shriekmaw. Because that way Shriekmaw will stick around and we can hopefully get some damage through onto Tamiyo. And let's get ourselves a Baleful Strix as well. And we'll draw a card with that. Get into a land and... yeah, we'll just leave it at that. And we want to discard Sheoldred. And we'll get rid of Hedron Crab as well. We can easily recast that. 4 cards left in our opponent's hand. They've got 6 commander damage on them. And they still seem to have some things going on. No, they just get into Arcades again. The problem with Arcades decks is you need Arcades in play. Wall of Essence. Okay, it's got a kind of lifelink attached to it. We'll draw them a card. And up to 4 cards in hand again. And Tamiyo. Until your next turn, whenever either of those creatures deal combat damage, you draw a card. So whether our opponent blocks or not, these 2 dealing combat damage will give our opponent some card draw. We can get straight through to Tamiyo with that, can't we? So, yeah, I think we are going to pay for that to untap the Shriekmaw. Yeah, so we get to untap Shriekmaw. Shriekmaw will go straight through because it has fear. Let's get down Exploration so that we can play both of these lands. And then instead of Skull Clamping, well actually, let's just go through to combat. I want to get rid of Tamiyo. And that gets straight through and gets rid of her. And then let's Recurring Nightmare. Recurring Nightmare will sacrifice Shriekmaw. And we'll get ourselves a Sheoldred out of the graveyard. And we've also drawn into Urborg, so that makes Sheoldred unblockable because she does have Swamp Walk. And then Shriekmaw goes back in the bin because we sacrificed it to Recurring Nightmare. So that means we can recast Shriekmaw for its evoke cost. And we'll kill the Arcades again because we just don't want that thing in play. And then Skullclamp onto Bloodghast. And we'll get down the Flooded Strand. And this is just a big value deck, as you can tell. We'll tap that Skullclamp onto Bloodghast. And how many cards have we drawn from this little combination so far? And we'll just draw again and then pass it over to our opponent. Yeah, our opponent sees the value that we've got going there. I think they would have had to near enough tap out to get Arcades out again. They've got 3 cards in hand, so they might have been able to get some card draw going, but we've just got too much going on here. They would have had to sacrifice their Wall of Essence next turn, and then we could have got straight through with Sheoldred and Muldrotha. Even if they got the commander out again, chances are we're just going to blow it up with Shriekmaw. So pretty good showing for Muldrotha there. Hope you all enjoyed it. I am sure to be enjoying my holiday. Recording this ahead of time, obviously, like I already said. I might upload some videos of my excursions when I'm out on holiday. I don't know. I might do that. I might not. I like the idea of showing everyone what I'm doing and maybe inspiring people to come and visit the UK. It's a beautiful country. Or to visit certain places in the UK if you live here already. Anyway, that was Muldrotha, the Gravetide, versus Arcades. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.